Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Hey guys. Wait, can everybody say something just so I can make sure?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, say something one more time.
Hello?
Okay.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi guys.
I don't know why my video's not working though.
Oh, I got I see the video button, period.
Okay,
I got it.
Period.
Yeah, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
She said I'm showing out, honey.
Hi guys.
Hi, how are you guys? Oh my goodness.
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Oh, period, Katsia. It's the glasses for me. Oh, you guys look so cute.
You do too.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. I'm Makeda.
I'm Makeda. I'm Janaea.
I'm Makeda.
Hi. Yeah. Nice to see you guys. Happy Saturday.
Happy
Nice.
Saturday.
Happy Saturday, guys. How's everybody's day going?
I mean, it's good.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Mine is just getting started. I had me some breakfast.
Word.
Had me some breakfast and I was like, let me hop on this call. I'm so excited for the discussion today.
Yes.
I'm super excited. Can't wait.
Same here.
Is this everyone?
Hey, no, we're just waiting for one more person.
Okay.
Hey girl. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, it took me a second to hop on. I need to figure out some stuff, so give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Fine. Hey, you guys don't have to come back until 2. I just want to make sure everybody was able to log on and everything works. You guys can mute your camera, you can write and just
Wait, but the video should be on though, right?
It should be. Do you see the stop video button in the corner next to the mute button?
No, my mute is
Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my laptop is doing something right now, so I couldn't.
There should be a video button right next to the mute button because I'm on my phone as well.
But so you see how how the mute button is without the X or whatever it would have. The video button is too. There's nothing over it.
Maybe it's something with your settings or something, your Zoom settings. I don't know. That's the only thing that I could think it would be. I'm about to take a screenshot and promote this so more people can come.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, same here.
Everybody say cheese.
Cheese.
Wait, so if I leave out, does it keep me on here?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, people can. Oh. Oh. I think people can already see us. I didn't even realize.
Oh, hey. Period.
Oh, okay.
It works. Okay. Oh, that was me, by the way. When you can y'all hear me?
Mhm.
Oh, hey. Okay, that was me, by the way. When you saw someone dial in, that was my bad. I didn't know you, but yeah. Hey guys.
Hey. We're just waiting for one more person. We'll start in like 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. What kind of plants do you have in your room back there? Yeah.
So this one is it's a palm. I'm not sure what kind. I think they just call it a palm. We got some aloe. I
Oh
got
wow.
over there. This one, there's one in the back that I can't really pronounce. It's called paludandron or something like that. But they're easy to kind of take care of because you water them like twice. Once every 2 weeks.
Oh,
So I
they're
kind of have
cacti?
yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
I only have there's one up there that's a cacti. It's a snakes. What is it? A snake plant. And then I got some succulents also. So they're pretty easy to take care of.
the snake plant is the really long one with the
It's this one right
light.
here. Yeah, this one right here, like there.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
and then this
Where
one.
do you get them from?
Yeah, that one's the aloe.
Where do you plant shop?
So right now I live in the UK. So
Okay.
there's a plant shop that's maybe like down the street from me. Yeah.
Oh wow, you're lucky. I gotta literally go like 3 stops from my house to go.
Where do you?
I live in Dorchester, so
Okay.
I have to go to like Mass Ave, Roxbury-ish to get my plants.
Yeah.
There's a plant shop there, but I'm a cactus mom. I have 3 cacti.
That's dope. When I used to live in Dorchester, I used to go to this place in on American Legion, and I think they closed though because before I moved, I wanted to go get a plant for some reason. This is like before I knew I was moving, but I
Right.
went and they closed during COVID, during lockdown. So
Really? Was it popping over there?
yeah, it was real popping. It was huge. It was a nice one too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's another one on American Legion, but that one's smaller and it has like, it doesn't have many options. It's like a more of a, like, if you want to buy like flowers for a friend or
I
like that,
see.
yeah. But they do have other plants, but not that many.
I see. Yeah, I like a good catalog, like a good variety. Because
Yeah,
I just got into plants, so like I pick it based on the look, not like the
yeah.
name. I want a pretty plant. You know what I mean?
No, definitely, definitely.
I need to take a visit to American Legion then.
Yeah, check. I'm not sure if they're still open, but hopefully they are. But
Even the small one.
the small one's still open. The small one is
Okay.
still open. Yeah, they have a
Okay.
few options though. You might find something you like.
Okay, I'll just go there then. I'm not gonna look for a closed place.
Yeah, that one's like by like after maybe, yeah, a little bit after the Wendy's, I think, on American Legion.
Okay, guys,
Oh,
we're gonna get started now.
Nice.
And yeah, so hi everybody. I'm so excited for you guys to be here. This is the Chakra Project's first event of the year, called the Creatives and Community Panel Discussion. My name is Olivia Fenty. I'm the founder and creative director of the Chakra Project. And if you weren't familiar, the Chakra Project is an initiative that strives to promote love, respect, and sisterhood in the Black femme community through bonding and artistic spaces. And so before we go into the event and the discussion, I just wanted to briefly talk about kind of what motivated me to do this event. And while I'm doing this, the participants, you all can comment in the chat box, just your name, where you're from, and what just brought you to this event. Yeah, so initially what motivated me to do this was I was constantly thinking about the term, like, I don't know if everybody's familiar, but have you heard of the like category called like stripper rap? And it's not like I don't consider it like a real category, but it's almost kind of like a category that other men in like the hip hop industry created to put like rappers like Ruby Rose or like Megan Thee Stallion, and almost as a way to like devalue their work and say that it's like rap just specifically for the club and it's somehow like not real rap. And so I was sort of thinking about that idea and overall just the historical like devaluing of Black femme art and art that we use to kind of like just portray our different experiences and to kind of like promote a sense of like identity and kind of creating yourself in the midst of like respectability politics and kind of just like this defying of respectability politics. And so from that idea, I wanted to have a conversation about the importance of this art and how this art has kind of been used as a form of liberation for us, and also like how this art now is continuing to be made by creatives like you all, and just also how you all are thinking through these questions while creating your art. And so I hope that we can have a thought-provoking conversation and that I'm able to hear all you all's different perspectives. And so now we're just gonna go and introduce all the panelists. And so the questions I'm gonna ask you guys is to say, who are you, what do you create, where are you from, and how long have you been creating? So who wants to start first? Oh,
I can go first.
okay.
Hi, I'm Jay Millie. My name is Jamila, but people call me Jay Millie because the T is silent at the end and they don't know that. But I'm a photographer, a film and creative director, and I started in the 8th grade, but I didn't really take it seriously until junior year of high school. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm 23, and yeah. Was there anything else that I forgot?
No. Well, how long have you been creating?
Okay, I've been creating officially since the 8th grade, or unofficially since the 8th grade, I guess, and officially since junior year. So since 2015.
Who wants to go next? Oh, okay.
Hi guys, my name is Janaea J. I am the founder of a platform called Meet the Creators. And Meet the Creators is an organization that provides media resources to local artists in Boston. So we do photo shoots, we do music videos, we do vlogs, we do documentaries, we do short films, anything that you want media related, we can do it. I am 22 years old. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, more specifically Roxbury, period. And I've been creating since I was about probably like 16. I started off taking photos and then I just grew and blossomed into a videographer. Like, I didn't even know it was going to happen. I just thought, I was going to be taking pictures, but I just happened to fall in love with cinematography and film. And now here I am.
Anybody? Okay, yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Ketsia. I'm from Boston. I'm 23 years old. Currently, I am living and working in Newark, New Jersey. I've been creating for like the last 3 years. I own an art business called Afros and Crowns. So I paint, and for the last year, I've been creating digitally. So I make logos. And the last couple of months, I launched my own website selling merch like hoodies, tote bags, and stickers. And for the last 2 years, I've been a photographer. So um, just dabbling in like different forms of creating artwork, but mostly it's centered around Black beauty, just really accentuating the afro and just showing a wide variety of skin tones, whether it be like real skin tones or just like substituting it with like blues and greens and things like that, but just focused around Black beauty. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And my business has been running for 3 years.
Who would like to go next?
I could go next. So I go by Makeda. I'm 29. I am originally from Boston, kind of like everywhere. I moved around a lot when I was younger, but mainly Boston. I grew up in Mattapan and then lived in Dorchester. I currently live in London, UK now. I am a creative of all sorts, but poetry has always been the medium that has allowed me to get into all the other mediums. So poetry, writing is my thing. I'm also a host of a podcast called Afro Mantra Tea, and that podcast is my baby. And basically, I just use that platform to uplift and inspire and encourage people by speaking life over their life and over my life, of course. But outside of all of that, I'm also a doula, and I am also part of an organization called a collective called Black Cotton Club, and we curate jam sessions, and we have one tomorrow. So yeah, so I'm just an all-around creative by way of poetry and hosting and curating.
And last but not least,
That leaves me. Hi, everyone. My name is Yapsana Sameta Mengistu. What do I create? I create photography mainly. That's my main medium right now, but I dabble a little bit in creative directing as well as writing. I am originally from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and I am currently based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I've been creating for as long as I can remember. I think the first time I got a digital camera was when I was 8 years old, even though I shouldn't have had one. And since then, I've just been kind of collecting pictures, and I like to call my pictures my little collections, my pretty collections. So recently, I think when when I turned 16 was when I actually started to really pay attention to my photography. And the reason why I create is because I like creating and collecting. So that's my medium and that's my world right now.
I'm so excited to have you guys here. Like, you guys are so amazing. And so to start, I'm going to, okay, yeah, so we're going to get into the discussion. And all the participants, while I'm going over the questions and we're talking, you all can also sound off in the chats. And if you all have any questions, we can also get to them at the end before we wrap up. So the first question I wanted to ask was, what role does your art and creating play in understanding your identity?
I'll go. I think it's a process. So every time I create, I learn something new about myself. I'll use my podcast. I just started it in January, and the more I do it, the more I learn about myself in the creative process, but also like just like what's inside me, because I go through a process of writing down the episodes and it causes me to reflect on like why I'm doing it in the first place, or what is my motivation. So I feel like every time I create, it helps me get closer to knowing myself, if that makes sense. And especially with poetry, I could write something and like 2 days later, I'd be like, hey, I'll reread it and wonder where it came from. And then it'll be the night that I'm performing it that like it hits me or something. And I'm just like, oh, this is a part of me that I didn't pay attention to. So I feel like every time I create it, I get closer to understanding who I am and what my identity is.
Even to add on that a little bit, I feel like, well, in addition to the Chocolate Project, I also write poetry as well. And I feel like I have those same experiences where I'll write down a line or just a word and even be like, I have no idea where that word came from, or like, I have no idea how I even formed that sentence or what state my mind was in when I was kind of writing that down. But I feel like when I have those moments, I realize just how multifaceted I am and how like multifaceted like my personality is, and just like how I just need to make space for all of that. And it's like, I'm always like in a constant, like, okay, how can I make space for all parts of me without kind of like diminishing myself in some way? I hope that makes sense.
I just have to hop right on and answer because I love that word, Olivia, multifaceted. It's literally my tag on Instagram, y'all. I think that's the reason why I use my photography. I think I look at the world in a different way than a lot of people, and I think growing up, I didn't understand how to explain that. I talked a lot, and that was always my response to handling conflict. I would just talk over people, trying to explain my point of view. And I think when I started using photography, I started feeling very calm. I like looking at my pictures. I like putting them up in my wall. I probably just keep them for myself just because of that, because it gives me a sense of like, this is what home looks like to me. This is what my friends look like to me. And I feel like a lot of the time I see the world in such a sense that it's not as holistically as other people would see it as. So whenever I have my photography, it finally lets me feel like I'm seeing things clearly. Nothing's too crowded. It's the perfect lens. And that's how I feel. That's why it feels so multifaceted and perfect all in one go.
That is so beautiful, for real. And also, I feel like when we are born, like as creators, we like growing up, we kind of have that feeling like I'm very different from everybody else, or I do things very differently from everybody else. And I don't understand why until you get older. And then you find out, what you're truly good at. And you're like, okay, I'm a boss. And I feel like that's what, kind of what I went through, like with Meet the Creators. When I first like had this idea of creating a platform, like literally I was just sitting in my bed, like just thinking like, I really want to do something different for me and also not only to help me grow as a creative, but to help, you know, my community as well. And then from there, I was like, okay, I could be a boss. I am a boss. Let's do this. You feel me?
Yeah, to add on in terms of helping the community, for me personally, because my artwork surrounds hair, I've been natural since my junior year of high school. And I just exactly, I just didn't really know how to like do it because I was just never really taught how to take care of my hair. And like in college, like I shaved the back of my head and like now I'm letting it grow out and like really appreciating my hair. And like for the last 3 years, creating artwork surrounded around hair and skin, just really having my artwork represent people who aren't represented well in the media and just accentuating the bomb features we got, the bomb hair that we got. So just having people see themselves in my art is what I want. And that's what I'm continuing to do. And that's why I do what I do. And I'm really happy with all that I've done. I didn't mention this before, but like I'm a self-taught painter and digital artist. So just working, and like just seeing the progression of my artwork throughout the years. I did take a photography class in college and like that's how I learned from that. But even with my photography, just for the time that I was doing it in college, I was really focused on presenting Black men in a positive light and showing off how they interact with their own hair, because my paintings and digital drawings were mainly focused on women because I'm a woman and I just have that like that outlook. So I just wanted to step in a different pair of shoes and show how life it is like for a Black man. But in general, my art is for all, and it is just to uplift Black people, Black community, Black features, everything, all of that into one. So yeah, that's why I create, that's why I love the art that I do.
I guess I'm next. I feel like what okay, sorry, what drew me into like creating, I was always quiet. And I feel like I still am. Like when I'm probably 9 times out of 10 not going to be the first one to go up to you. But like when you come up to me, I'm chatting for the rest of the time. But I'm very like reserved. I'm very like, people don't see it, but I'm very shy. I'm extremely shy. So I just feel like the words that I can't get out, or the words that people don't hear or won't hear, they're gonna see it through my work. Like whether or not you wanted to hear J Millie, you're gonna see J Millie. So that's one of the, and I just feel like when I have my camera in my hand, I'm really just unstoppable. Like I will really walk the street. I will really walk the street like I can't be touched. You know what I mean? Just with me and my camera. And I just like some of the controversy to my art, just like the definition behind some of my work. It causes conversation and different mindsets on the table, especially when it comes to Black. I love shooting Black men. Like really, like I love the muse of Black men, just like from their hair to their smile. Like I love capturing that. And the message behind some of my work, like pertaining to Black men, I just want to uplift them, because I feel like us women sometimes, or at least the community I'm around, we uplift each other, like we got each other. But there's chats like, you know, like men ain't this, men ain't that. And it's just like, some of them are hearing this, you know what I mean? Like other men, it can, you know, it can light a fire under their butt, but others, like, it's just like, wow, you know. So if we don't got them, who got them? So underneath all this, you know, men ain't this, men ain't that, there's a blanket of we love you over it, and I will put it there. So that's really what my work is about. I love, when it comes to Black women, I don't really wanna, I feel like that's where, I'm a film director, so I feel like that's where that came in. I don't wanna see your story, I wanna hear it. Like, I wanna hear your voice, I wanna hear what that meant to you. So I like, you know, making films and making interviews when it comes to Black women's story, but I just love melanated people, and that's what you're gonna see in my art. Yeah. Oh, don't do that. Sorry.
I have a question. Are we able to ask questions?
Yeah.
Okay, because the last two comments have me thinking about something that I actually wanted to ask before we even got into this room. What are you guys' experience, or what are some of you guys' experiences with men in the industry, like in your specific industry, like with what you do?
Can I go first? This is really something I think about a lot, and I don't see myself as, like, you know, intimidating or anything like that. So I feel like I have to be when it comes to men in my field, only because they love to take charge. Me being a film director, when you put me on the job, let me direct. Your feedback is one thing, and it's, you know, it's appreciated. Granted, I have to get feedback to, you know, outline the whole thing. Like, I have to get feedback or some kind of detail, even if it's the tiniest one. I have to get some kind of detail from the person who hired me, because I want to do it how you envisioned it. But at the same time, say I'm a director on set, being a female, a woman, and there's a male photographer or co-director, whatever. Don't take my role away from me because you're the man and I'm the woman. Who do you think you are? You know what I mean? So it's just like, when it comes to actions, when it comes to intellect, when it comes to, you know, thinking on hand, leave that to me and do, you know, your job. I feel like, especially on my set, men and women, they don't, like, gender don't matter. It's what do you know and what don't you know. So it's like, don't use your role to be like authoritative, or like, is that a word, authoritative? Don't use your word to like show authority that I already have. Like I said, I don't see myself to be intimidating at all, but when I say what I said, I said what I said. So like, that's basically my answer. Like, I don't like how they feel that gender roles plays a part on set, because it really doesn't. Like, you can be a man and I'm a woman who knows 10 times more than what you know. Like, I know my way around I know my way around the camera. I know my way around the set. I know my way around the studio. Let me do me. So that's really what it is. I don't like the entitlement.
For me, I'll say, and like I feel like I talk about this all the time with my homegirls. I think especially in like when I was doing like open mics a lot, and you know, sharing stages, like I think that a lot of the times it was hard to share stage because I used to think it was maybe my voice or whatever, but sometimes I think that working with men in in the world that I'm in, the creative world that I'm in, has its challenges as far as kind of like what Jane Millie was saying, just like I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm confident in what I'm doing. And I'm in this place because I'm confident in what I'm doing and I'm good at it. And sometimes that would be challenged. For me, like it would be one time it was somebody, you know, we have a set we're performing. So there's like a 3-song set or a 3-poem set. And homeboy was not trying to get off his set, you know, and it's my turn. So you have to be mindful, but it in a space where it was predominantly women, but it's easy. I felt like it was easy for him to do that because of that fact. So I think I've also had good experiences, but I won't deny that it's also been hard. Or being a curator, like creating these spaces, me and the founder of Black Cotton Club, when we would go to ask to have Black Cotton Club at a specific venue, a lot of the times the venues were owned by men. And so we would come in prepared and be like, hey, we need this. We would like to have this space from this time to this time to this time, and we'd like to do this and this, and come as organized as possible. And it would be kind of like we weren't taken seriously. Or you know, the night of, there would be something and we were like, well, we talked about this wasn't part of our arrangement. Or even in the creative world, if I could be completely honest, like not everybody's trying to be creative for clout. Like some people are doing this out of simply love. And I think a lot of the times when you're a poet, even a videographer, a photographer, a curator, a fashion designer, a painter, and you're a woman, sometimes there's a line that men tend to try to cross, and they try to use your art to do it. Oh, I love your art, love what you're doing. And then it's like, you want to be a person who talks about the art because it's your love. And then there are other unnecessary comments coming or things of that nature. So I feel like being a woman in this industry or in this world, like the question you're asking, you got to ask yourself, and you got to be prepared to answer it for yourself, so that when you walk into rooms and you're dealing with that kind of stuff, you could kind of see it for yourself and know how to deal appropriately. Like for me personally, it's just, it took some time for me to notice like peep game type thing. But once you peep game, you're able to just be like, no, like your no is a no, or your yes is a yes. And you navigate that way. Because one thing is, like, I love what I do, and I just don't ever want it to be played with like that. And I find it to be kind of disrespectful, not even kind of, I find it to be disrespectful. And I just feel like it takes away from what we're actually trying to do. And some people, some women are strong enough to deal with it, and some aren't. Like I would hate for somebody to want to enter the creative world and have an experience, and that's what takes them away from actually fulfilling it. And so I feel like that's something that a lot of men should keep in mind when they're doing things like that. But yeah, I think when you're a creative woman, you really have to like ask yourself the question and remember like your why, and be prepared to deal with it, and don't be afraid to tell somebody off, like truthfully.
I think what's funny about your question is when you first asked it, I couldn't even think of like any moment. And then as we were talking about the topic, I started to realize it was because I was undermining like how much of an effect it had on my work. I think for a lot of the time, the people in my field who knew a lot about photography were men, especially I started really like putting my foot on the ground in DC, and the DMV area is very, very cruel when it comes to art because everyone's been doing it for a while, you know? And I think I met a lot of photographers who were pretty ahead of the game from me. They were event photographers, they were working with some magazine or whatever it may be. But for me, I was just doing it because I enjoyed it and I wanted to create projects that made sense to me and resonated to the people in my community. You know, I always wanted to tell stories with my pictures. And I felt like I kept running into different people who didn't understand the space that I was creating. And it's funny because Olivia knows this. Like when I first wanted to create a space for art, I remember reaching out to different people in my community. And initially I was getting a lot of support from the Black Femmes. Like Black women were on my boat. They were like, yes, let's do it. Let me help you out. Do you need a creative director? Do you need someone for decor? Do you need food? Like, you know, people were ready to come and help me create a space because I wanted to have an event to just have people showcase their work, have me showcase mine, and have people perform. You know, like we never had a space like that before. And I wanted that. And I realized it took a while for the men in my community to come around. Like one of them eventually reached out to me and was like, hey, do you like have a ticket I could cop? Because mind you, when I first explained the event, I wanted it to be a charity-based event where all the profits went towards an art center in my community. That's what I wanted. And a lot of people weren't happy about that because they were like, are you paying the artists though? And I'm like, I asked them, it's a volunteer basis, you know? And I think that's like the first thing that I let people know. Like I was like, here you go. And I think when people started to gravitate more to my ideals and people started to make me feel welcomed. But before that, I was getting undermined a lot, especially by my close guy friends. They kept telling me, they kept talking over me and telling me like, are you sure you want to do that? Do you think this is like logical for you? And like, I think a lot of the time it just made me feel like they didn't see the vision I had. I always think bigger picture, but I always follow through with the steps. And I think they saw me as just weak in the arena because I didn't know enough people, but I was willing to meet people to make it happen, you know? And I think that's like what I used that hope that my Black women, Black females in my community were giving me at that time. They kept pushing me, like Olivia kept pushing me to have the event, even though I was like, girl, I'm going broke, but I'm trying. And I appreciated that because I didn't get that from a lot of the men.
I have had,
no,
did
you
somebody
sure?
say? No, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I just like to echo what Yipsar was saying. I feel like, especially with the Chocolate Project, when I first started it, I really had to defend why I was solely focusing on Black femmes. And I felt like it was always like a, well, you're not including all Black people type thing. And I was just like, well, when you help some of us, don't you help all of us? Like, I don't understand what the division is. Like, I think you're making it divisive, and it's not. And I feel like I've had to do that, like when I started in high school and even up until college, like just people always saying what, like you're not helping all Black people. What about Black men? Like, where are the spaces for Black men that are like this? And I'm just like, well, if you want that, you can create that if you like. And I don't know, I feel like I've also had to deal with like, again, like people just not taking me seriously, people. I remember like when I was younger doing events, like people would come to the events and like not even look at me, they would look at my mom and be like, oh, so you're the one that's in charge here. And I'd be like, so I feel like, yeah, again, just like me understanding why I'm doing this and making sure that nobody kind of like deters like the vision that I have for the Chocolate Project and like all of my art. And when I am put in a position to defend myself, just making sure that like what Makeda said, like my yes is a yes, my no is a no. And I shouldn't feel the need to constantly like defend myself and have to like prove to somebody that what I'm doing is of value.
I've had a lot of different experiences with men in the industry. I'm gonna just touch on like two that really just made me be like, what? So the first one was when I was doing photography when I was super young. I noticed that a lot of men would approach me in like an inappropriate way, but also try to like work with me at the same time. And I always like felt a little confused and like really weird about that. I don't know if you guys have experienced that as well, but I really don't like to mix like business and then like pleasure. And I feel like a lot of men kind of approach me like in that manner. And it's really disturbing because I can totally understand or see how like men do not experience the same thing that we do in terms of that certain situation. And also, well, working on my platform, like working on building my platform, I've worked with a lot of men who tend to tell me, like when I present an idea, they tend to tell me like, well, I think you should do it this way, or I think you should do it that way. And don't get me wrong, like I love when people give me advice, I love when people give me suggestions, but when it's repetitive, it kind of makes me feel attacked, especially when essentially they're working for me under like my name, under my company. It gets a little frustrating for me. And I found myself very like frustrated like with them and with myself and like with my entire brand because of, you know, these little things that are happening. And also, I also wanted to say that sometimes like men grow and like they grow and they mature differently from women. And I feel like sometimes that shows when I'm working with certain men. Um, I like to take my time with projects. I like to, if stuff goes wrong, I like to grow and I like to learn from that. And I understand that not everything can be 100% perfect every time. And, sometimes when things go wrong, I've just noticed that the men that I've worked with on my platform, they just get, really, really upset. And then it goes back to, oh, you should have did it my way, or you should have did it this way. And I've just had a lot of frustrating events that have happened with men in the industry, which is why I asked the question. I wanted to see if you guys kind of felt the same or have experienced, some of the same things that I have, because it's very frustrating for me. So I have one more question before we move on. What do you guys think that, women that may run into these problems should do, like moving forward, like working with men like I have?
I think that it's simple as doing what you always been doing, because honestly, at one point, at some points, people stop when you ignore them, but at a certain time, you gotta, you see the sign, so you gotta say how it is. So earlier you said, oh, I'm a boss, and truly it shows. So honestly, be the boss. Like, I'm not here for none of that. Like, you want to create, or do you want to, do you want to take charge? Because you can make your own company like I did if you want to do that. So it's just really be a boss. Like, say what you gotta say what say what you gotta say, or say what they don't see. Because if you don't see it, I can say it and you can leave if you don't like it. So I just play hard. That's really what it is. And I learned that the hard way as, a female, because obviously, like, I went through the same, not obviously, but I went through the same, thing, like men trying to take charge or whatever the case may be. But it's really just saying what you have to say when you see it, or there's no or. It's really just that. It's really just being a boss, because you're, like you said, it's your name. They're under you. So heaven forbid they do something that jeopardizes your company behind your back. You never knew about it. You know what I mean? So just keep track of every move. And I'm saying, this to you for MTC and your other endeavors. So it's just like, if you see something wrong, really just say it. Because one thing they can never say when, things gets worse, they can't say you didn't tell them. They can't say they didn't see this coming. So that's really what it is. That's my advice to you.
For me, I would say everything Jay Millie said. Um, and also I like if somebody is talking over you, you can be like, I wasn't done. And I'm saying this because I'm practicing that too, but it goes back to just kind of um we have to be assertive. And I know as Black women, our assertiveness comes off as the angry Black woman, but you know what? I'll take it because I'm not going to tolerate anything else. And that's just how it has to be. I know for me personally, and I don't know if you're like this tonight, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I want to get the work done. I'm in it for the love. Can we make this work? But it's also I need to protect my peace. I need to protect my art, and you're gonna still be able to keep creating. And just like you said, you're gonna keep learning. So if at any time that these situations happen, again, that's another teachable moment. And when you stand up to it, that's gonna be a teachable moment. You're gonna have plenty of opportunities. I think sometimes these men think that without them is But that's not the case at all. Like, that's not the case at all. And so I feel like, going back to what Jane Millie said, is just stand your ground. If you are uncomfortable, you just need to say the words, I'm uncomfortable with this. So it's either we shooting, we doing this at this time on this day, or we're not working together. And that's it. You know, if they're talking over you, but there's a it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like there's a safety aspect to it too. Like, there's a safety, like, of your body, there's a safety of your mental health, there's a safety for your projects. Like, there's stuff to protect. And you're creative, you're going to be able to keep creating. So don't think that when you have these encounters that your whole thing is messed up. No, it was an opportunity, an obstacle that you will overcome. So I think you just got to say the words. I think we have to continue to be as assertive as possible when we come across these things. And it takes a lot of bravery, but be brave.
I can go next. So last year, my school was able to like fund my project. And it was a photography project called the Barbershop Experience. And I was planning, well, I did travel to California. I traveled to Oakland and then Orange County. And I was planning it for months. So I was in contact with the people that I was planning to meet in California. And one of them was a barber in Oakland, and he was on board. I was planning to take pictures with like of his clients in his shop. And when me and my friend got there, like the day we got there or like the next day, I was like, hey, I'm in Oakland. Let me know when I can go or which address to go to or whatever. And he had the audacity to not even answer. Nothing. He was posting on his story, but did not reply to me. So I'm like, okay, we have to regroup now, because you kind of like maybe come out here for no reason and you weren't gonna bother answering me or anything like that. So me and my friend, we just, visited some museums and this and that. And eventually we came across like a stranger in Goodwill, and I was able to take pictures of a Black man, but I just had to bounce back from that, because like it was just very disrespectful that he did that and he felt okay with that. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then, next flight the next couple of days. So that was unfortunate, but just one instance where it was just very disrespectful working with someone that I was giving him all the information about my project, very on board, but the last minute, very unreliable. But moving forward, just making sure that all parties included are on board and just making everything organized as possible is like very important. Even if it doesn't work out in the end, you tried and you can just regroup and do something even better next time. So that's my little story.
Did anybody else want to add anything before we moved on to the next question?
Hey guys, I'm gonna leave my camera off actually because I'm on the clock right now, but I'm gonna still be here because fuck a job. Anyways, I wanted to be here. I've been listening to you guys. All sound amazing. You've all said amazing, beautiful things. Like for real, I agree with everything you've said. So I work in the music industry. So a lot of like the men I encounter, they just have like really huge egos, and they kind of always expect you to what do you call that word? I guess to coddle that ego. I guess you have to like. I don't know, you just have to act accordingly to that ego they always expect you. And when you don't, it's like a huge deal, I guess. But I've realized you really just have to like, I don't know, you have to not care about like, I don't know, you're not responsible for how other people like, for their like emotional, for how they like figure out their emotions. Like, for example, you hurt their ego or something, that's not your responsibility, or how like they act after that. Like you shouldn't like worry about how they're going to react to certain things as long as you are behaving as like I don't know, as respectfully as possible is what I've always thought. Cause it's like, what are you gonna say? Like, I was as respectful as possible to you. Like, there was nothing, I didn't do anything negatively wrong. You're just mad that I didn't stroke your ego. Or like, I don't know, like I wasn't smiling. I don't know, like industry men are weird. Like they're really like, I don't know, they're very thirsty. I'll say that. So like if you don't like coddle their ego or whatever, it's like automatically drama. But you really just have to be like, I don't know, you gotta be like assertive about like how you're coming. You just got to set the tone off rip so that there's literally no room for that, like that gray area, no room for miscommunication, like truly, because they'll twist anything up. I'll tell you that. But yeah, amazing. I'll be listening.
Thank you for that response. So the next question I wanted to ask was, do you think people or like society, like on a large scale, respect art created by Black femmes? And if so, why?
I feel, if I can go first, I feel like yes and no on the no part, or I guess answering both like yes and no. I feel like they only respect our art when it's seconded by a man or somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we have to get on on another platform to show our platform. Like, why do I need you to back me up? My work shows it. My work shows everything. So I feel like we're appreciated when we get there, but our 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 road to success is truly, at least, you know, me and the beautiful Black women, you know, my colleagues, and it's just like it's truly a tough road, because why did he need to tell you that he you know, he respects me, or that we were, you know, work partners on one end, for you to even give my work a second look? Like, why does my work always need to be second? And I get it, you need reviews from everybody, but I, you know, at a certain point, I don't want you to put me on. I got it myself. Like, I'm not asking for people to put me up. Like, I'm not asking for a hand. When I do, you will know, because one thing about me, I'm not afraid to ask for help. But I just feel like, actually, no. So no, our work is not appreciated at all. At all. I truly feel that. Like, it's not appreciated as is. You know what I mean? It's appreciated as a co-art or something else. Like, why do I always have to be, I as in the general I, why do I have to be under you for me to be looked at? You as in, honestly, to be real, a man. Like, why does my work have to be under, you know, a man for, it's just like Beyonce living under Jay-Z her whole life. Imagine that. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, so no, to answer your question.
Yeah, I would also say no. I think a lot of the time, personally, in my own work, as well as just even reflecting with friends, a lot of the time they feel like their work has to be watered down to be specifically appreciated, no matter who the audience is. I think for me personally, I've watched how I started using my photography in the academic lens. I tried to like write papers about it because my professors told me it would sound better, look better, be more presentable. And I think for me, at first it felt okay, because I felt like I was explaining my work, but then I realized I was using words and definitions that would make them comfortable, make my work more palatable. Like, I started to realize that my work wasn't being as respected when I was being told that I should have approached it not too specifically on my experience. And I think that's the whole point of it being my work, right? It's about my experience. And they're like, yes, but you want it to be relatable. I'm like, no, I want it to be understood. And I think that's like something that I struggle a lot with whenever people look at my work, is the fact that a lot of the time people want to water it down. And I see my friends doing this, going through the same thing. They're like, yeah, I want to do this project. I want to be in this photo shoot. But if I'm doing it, it's for a brand. It's not for something that I stand for. So like, is it really who I am? Or is it really who I want people to see, you know? So like that watered down version of our work that we're usually given when we're critiqued by people who don't understand what we're trying to say, that's the issue I have, I think. And maybe I'm speaking from like an angry lens right now, but like I know it frustrates me, and that's the frustrating part that keeps me going, keeps me want to like show the work the way I want it seen.
I feel like in 2021, like when Black women's art is appreciated, I feel like it's because of a trend. I feel like we trending. I feel like we trended now. So I feel like, yeah, I've encountered like genuine support and stuff, but I've also more so encountered the fact that, like, you know, Black girl magic now, everybody want to like, that girl, you know, look at, even walking down the, like literally, even if I could put art to the side, like, you know, just being a Black woman with dreadlocks who wraps her hair sometimes, like it's like they see that and they receive it, but they're receiving it because it's 2021, and like it's almost like they feel like they have to, or you know, they weren't complimenting it before, so like let me compliment it now. And as far as art goes, I just feel like it's becoming like a trend to support us now. Like I said, I will say that I've encountered like real genuine support, people seeing my art, people feeling my poetry, supporting a podcast and all that great stuff. But I can sense and I can see that there is a trend, like it's almost like it's the thing to do now, so I'm gonna do it because that's what it is. Like I personally don't really like it. I don't like it because we work so hard, and I think that's what the annoying part is. Like everybody on here pours their heart into what we're doing, and like I don't want fake accolades. Like I want, like, to, like you said, like I want to be understood. I want it to be understood. I don't even care for you to like it, but I want it to create conversation. I want, like, you know, not just like a like. I want it to be like, hey, what did you mean by this? Or what were you saying in this poem or in this episode? Like whatever the case may be, I feel like this is what it really means to show up and show out for Black female creatives. And like, you know, like, yeah, share my stuff, but also like really pay attention. Like I feel like, you know, in a time of social media, sometimes people aren't even watching, like like, you know, they're just, oh, it's the Black girl who did that thing, yeah, let me support a Black creative right now, share, you didn't even watch. So I feel like it's kind of a trend, and I'm not really satisfied with us just trending, because like we're just everything, and I would love for people to ask questions as to why I believe that we're everything, rather than just saying that we're everything and saying that you support it without understanding it, because it shows. You know. Yeah.
I agree. I feel like people only appreciate our art when we're doing something that involves a specific trend on social media. There was a incident that happened to me when I first started getting into videography. I was really sad about something, I can't remember, but I made like a little short film about how I was feeling. And it was titled Water. And I just remember, like, I felt like I had no support. I felt like, you know, my close friends and my family were supporting me, but literally nobody like gave that any attention at all. And it really got to me. And then once I started promoting it on social media and all of this other stuff, this guy reached out to me and he was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, thank you so much. And I felt the support and I felt the love. And then a week later, he made the same type of film. Yeah. And like, he got all the support in the world for it. And, you know, it made me feel some type of way. This guy had a platform, like he's a well-known YouTuber. Some of you may know him. His name is Jaden Grundy. He does like fashion stuff on YouTube. And yeah, I'll never forget that incident, because it's like, all I really wanted was support for my work, but then someone else turns around and does the same thing, and it just so happens to be a Black man. And, you know, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm like, that's me. I'm reading his comments like, thank you, that's me. I did that. But yeah, that's my little 2 cents I have to say about that.
If I can just say something real quick, I saw Water, obviously, when it came out, and that really inspired me. Like, I don't think I ever told you this, but that really inspired me. I remember looking at it, I'm like, how did she do that? Like, how is she recording herself walking while she's walking? Like, so that really inspired me to actually like show my feelings through my art more, honestly, because I'm telling you it lives in my head rent free sometimes. It really does, because it's like you were brave enough to actually like show your tears on camera, and like me being a film director and just like a photographer in a whole, like I have to kind of, in some ways I have to alter people's emotion for the camera. That just like, wow, she really like gave me mad motivation and mad inspiration. So that clip was it. Like, that was it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Also, I want to say one more thing. I feel like Black women, when they create, we like to involve our feelings. Well, for me personally, that's what I like to do. When I'm feeling a certain type of way, I'm like, all right, let me get in my zone. And I've honestly noticed that when I'm in my zone and when I put like my feelings and my emotions into my work, that's when it doesn't get the most support. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys resonate with that as well, but every time I like put a deeper meaning into something, or I put how I'm feeling about a certain topic that's not trending per se, like it just does not get support at all.
I think that has a lot to do with where our society is, and kind of like this idea of what Black women are supposed to be like. And it's interesting because we are so many things. Like, you know, I like to tell people, like, just because I'm like all affirmations and, you know, peace, love, incense, like I'll put on some Meg Thee Stallion right now. Like, you know, like there's so many levels. But when we have like our deep and like ourselves, like our individual moments, I think society has this thing, this like filter for us where it's like, if it's not this, because it's not trending or it's not what's going on, like then it's not it. Personally for me, I used to like be really into modeling and stuff. And then I had a really hard time because like what a model is now has shifted. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have like, I'm curvy, but like, you know, I didn't have boobs back then. And like, you know, like my body was a little different. And what people liked, and again, like a lot of the photographers I was working with were men who they wanted to shoot. I didn't put I wasn't into makeup like that. Like I did, but I wasn't good at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had like this really, like I didn't think it was boring, but I think for them maybe it was boring at the time. So like I feel like there's this filter, like in order for us to put out what's real, like we have to do a little extra, and it's not fair because I feel like the extra is actually not really us. And I think our best work does come from when we experience and share genuine emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some poems I write and it's hard for me to even say, but like I'll like start crying or like my throat would tighten up or something like that, but I'm happy to do it. And those are the ones where people are like, yeah, you know, but they want to hear me talk rah, 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 like all the time. But that's not that's not real. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I think society has a way of putting Black women in a box. I mean, I'll say Black people too, like, you know, Black, brown, indigenous people in a box, where it's like, if I'm not rapping, then I'm not on stage. If I'm not, you know, if my body is not altered, and again, I really don't care. Like, you could have an altered body all you want, that's fine. But if my body's not altered, then I can't be in a music video. Like, who says? Like, who really says? And I think that's the part about being an artist that sucks, because I'll say this, and this is the last thing, because I know I'm going on, but I have a friend who is Christian, and she sings, like, you know, and she sings beautifully. And so she doesn't just sing Christian songs. Like, she's not just, like, you see what I'm saying? She's not just a gospel singer. Like, she just loves singing. But because, like, of who she is, kind of thing, like, people want to box her in, like, she's Christian, so she can't sing this, like, whatever. And she's just like, no, if anything, like, I can do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like society has a way of, if you're Black and you're Christian, you can't do this. If you're a Black woman and you wear hair ties and you look like Erykah Badu, then you can't be a twerker. Or if you're a woman that looks like Meg the Stallion, there's no way you're lighting incense in sage. Like, you know, like, there's always this box that it doesn't even really make sense, because we're people that evolve all the time. Like, I'm not even the same person I was yesterday. So I think it's this thing that society does, and it challenges us to figure out whether or not, like, what are we going to do to be in? Like, you get what I'm saying? And, like, do we actually want to be in? Because I feel like being in, it costs a lot. And then most of the time it costs yourself, your true self, to be in. I feel like that's what it costs. And I always ask myself, like, how bad do I want it? Is it worth me, like, losing myself? Is it worth me lying to myself? Because the answer is always going to be no. And I feel like there's always a way around it. You just got to know yourself. Like, these type things is where you have to actually know yourself.
I definitely, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna go to the next one. You can go,
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, like, I definitely, may you remind me of your name? I don't want to butcher it.
Makeda.
Like, everything you were saying, it was literally like hammer on the head, like, literally. And to, like, touch on what Janaea said before, tying back to you, I feel like people don't like to see Black women tread, you know, against the waters. Like, they want to see us, like, you know, what the old book says. Like, they want us to be, you know, respect this, respect that. But what if we have a problem with that? You know what I mean? They don't like to see how we feel. In my book, like, they don't like to see how we feel. So I mean, this is like low key, but I did used to be, I still write, but I used to be like more into spoken word. I used to be a part of teen empowerment when I was in sophomore, LOL, elementary and middle school. I was a part of teen empowerment, and I would always tap into their, you know, open mic nights as a spoken word artist. And it was just like the feedback I would get talking about, like, you know, I mean, I was like, what, 13, but it don't matter. The, like, things I would talk about, you know, when I got a broken heart, as opposed to, oh, I like sitting on the grass reading a book. It was totally different. Like, why do you only want to hear what the norm, you know, why do you only want to hear what people always talk about? And with the modeling thing, I'm still trying to be a model. And I feel like what people want me to show, or, you know, what certain people want me to show or do, it's a no for me. Like, I'm not going to do that. I want to be, you know, the type of model that shows out for bald women. That's really why I want to be a model so bad. Like, I don't feel like bald women are, represented enough, and I want to do that. But I'm not going to show my butt to show my head. Like, why do I need to do that? Like, why do I need to show all the, why do I need to show below the neck for what? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if I'm, I'm going to be a model, but why do I have to show my assets? You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that for attention. So I like, you hit every point that I was thinking about, like moving on or like growing in my creative world. So I really intend on being the jack of all trades. Like, I really want to do that. So yeah, you going through the same thing, or confronting the same thing, it kind of gave me a sense of motivation. Like, just keep doing it, because other people might be going through it and overcoming it. So yeah.
Just to add on what Jamie Lee was talking about, I honestly, when you all were talking, I was thinking about people like Toni Morrison and like Audre Lorde, who like at the time when they were publishing their books, like it wasn't even being taken seriously by other Black people. Like specifically like Toni Morrison, like in writing things like The Bluest Eye, like Beloved, people were like, you're making the Black community look bad, or you're not telling like stories that depict Black people or Black families in good light. And to her mind, she was like, well, I'm just writing for Black people. I'm not writing through the white gaze and like for other white people to be able to understand us and humanize us. I'm writing true stories that happen in Black homes. And I think it honestly constantly goes into what also like Makeda was saying, like, I feel like Black women are a trend. Like, I feel like people are constantly just, I don't know, I feel like like someone was saying in the chat, like they said, I noticed that sometimes people want our approval and to be down with us, but they don't want to hear us. And I completely agree with that. I feel like people are always giving us the mic, but like not really, and allowing us to only tell our stories in a way that's digestible and doesn't really like portray our lived experiences. So yeah. The next question I wanted to ask, it was kind of in connection to the question Janaea asked, but it was, do you think that your prospective creative industry is inclusive and accessible to all Black femme creatives?
Do you mean like our personal, like our art, like our individual art? Do we think all Black femmes can like see it, or like do they know about it?
No, like do like your prospective creative industry, do you think that it allows all kinds of Black femmes to kind of like be able to stand on the stage and do what they have to do? Or do you think it's very like, I'm asking more about like gatekeeping type of stuff. Like, are only certain type of people like taken seriously in reference to others? I'm like kind of thinking about like just how, for example, like men will only sometimes like take women that they find attractive seriously, and it's like just like things like that.
I understand. I feel like it is. I don't think there's any I don't see any like gatekeeping, like from, or like in photography, or I see it very much in film, but like my, photography aspect of, my creative world, I don't really see any like gatekeeping or any, oh, you don't have access to this, or I feel like photographers are photographers. It's the film industry that can get you a little like, whoa, like, why can't I do that? He's doing it, or they're doing it. Why can't I do it? And I feel like that it's not even what we talked about previously. I don't even think that's a hierarchy thing. It's really just, you're a woman, so I can't let you do that. Like, I can't let you be better than me. I can't. That's how I see it. Like, and not, like I said again, not really in the photography aspect, but since I became a film director, I've seen what I didn't want to see, and it's just like, did you like, where's your name on the copyright? Like, where's your name saying that you made this craft, or you made the, like, you're not in my history books. My professor never talked about you. So who are you to like hide this? How do I say it? It's not a craft, but it's a, wow. It's just like, who are you to hide this factor of the industry from me? You know what I mean? Like, you're not like, you didn't make it up. You didn't. So yeah, that's really my bit.
I feel like in my experience, when I first, I dabbled in event photography for a bit, and a lot of the time with the different folks I was working with, it would be events where obviously like drinking would be involved. And I think that's where my concern would come personally from. I also was working in an environment that was a predominantly white institution. So I was around folks who didn't, one, respect me based off of my gender and also my race. And I think that made me very uncomfortable in a lot of situations, because I felt like I would have to step between like, this is, I signed a contract, I'm here to work, I'm here to get my stuff done, but also like there's no respect. Like there's no respect. And I would start to create guidelines for myself, and then I realized, why am I making guidelines for me? I'm not the one in the wrong. I'm not the one who's disrespecting someone. I'm not the one who's putting me in a, I'm not putting anyone in an uncomfortable element. I'm just coming in, doing my job, and then heading home, And I think in some spaces, there was a time I was completely disrespected by one of my clients, and I had to say something about it, like in the midst of me working, and they were, instead of like approaching me from understanding that I was offended, they were trying to explain like how they could, cover up what the person essentially did. They were like, what can we do to make them go away? Do you want them to leave? And I'm like, no, like I just want to make sure you guys are taking care of me. I'm the person working here. I'm the person doing my job. And at the end of the day, like, you guys don't want these pictures, you don't want these pictures. And I think I had to learn the hard way from experiencing that. And then as I transitioned and working in more like people of color spaces, I still saw that being a factor. I still saw people like just dismissing me. I think I ran into a handful of photographers at events who pushed by me, and I'm a decent height. I'm 5'7", there's nothing too small about me to push me around. But I think a lot of the time, because I'm the type of person who's raised to say, excuse me, thank you, please, I get pushed around a lot. And I think that's like the world photographers are raised in. Like they're like, oh, you have to get a picture, you have to do this. Like I've been in so many events where people are pushing each other, like, and I'm like, for what reason? Like we're listening to Ari Lennox, she's chilling us out, you don't need to push anybody. So like doing that type of thing is where I feel like I'm questioning myself and my actions, and if I should be aggressive. But then I'm realizing like, no, it's the environment in itself. Like people are treating this like we have to fight to the death for it, instead of like we're all here creating,
Sorry, I do have a photo shoot at 3:30, but my camera will be off, but I will be here. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Did anybody else want to answer the question? Okay, so switching like gears, I wanted to ask a question that's kind of on a separate topic, but how do you use your art to liberate and express yourself?
I would say like we talked about earlier, me putting my emotions into my art. And honestly, like it really did start after I seen the Water video by Janaea J. It really did. Like after that, that's when I was like, I really took it to lunch. I was like, okay, she can do it, so can I. Like, who cares if I'm crying on camera, or who cares if I'm, doing this, that, and the third. So I feel like, love you. I feel like my art, this one. my art liberates me in ways like nobody can take it away from me. If I wanna post this, or it's not even the posting, it's the creating part. If I wanna create this, I can do that. If I wanna, curate this, I could do that. And nobody has a say so in your art but you. So nobody has a say so in your art but you. So it's like that's the liberating part to me, is nobody can tell me no. That's one thing.
For me, when I'm painting specifically, just the whole process of taking my tubes of paint, splattering them on like a glass plane and mixing them, that process, just color matching and color, just the involvement of color really calms me and gets me excited when I find a combination that really works together that I haven't thought of previously. And it's a little bit different when I'm like drawing on my iPad, because like I'm just like moving my pencil around to find different colors, but even that process is so, it involves like, I don't know what parts of my brain, but it just makes me happy throughout the whole process, just looking at colors, comparing them, making it a shade darker or a shade lighter, just that whole process of either filling my physical canvas or the screen. Um, is just, it involves so much of me, and I am seeing the result of like what's in my brain coming out in front of me, and just that whole process is just so fulfilling and relieving for me.
For me, it's like, um, I feel like I can be myself. Kind of like what Jay Millie was saying about like, I don't have um, like I don't have to explain this part of myself to anybody. And I feel like that's liberating. When you can just be yourself and not have to explain, and like, like nobody's asking you why you wrote this sentence, or why you wrote this one word, or why you created this episode, but you just know why. So I feel like when I like, literally the process itself is liberating for me. And it, like, I think um even when I do share, knowing that like one person gets it is liberating, or knowing that I'll have some sort of effect in my community, or in a view, or whatever the case may be. Like, I feel like that's really liberating for me. And I just feel like when I'm creating, there's no bounds, like there's no limit, there's no rules, that it's not like a game, like where I have to have like X amount of people with me. Like, it's just me. So I feel like that's the truest form of liberation and freedom.
I feel like when I get to create, it's one of the few times where my mind just gets to be quiet. I think for me, as a person who thrives on anxiety, I struggle a lot to just give myself a second to just breathe and just enjoy my environment. And I think at first, like when I started photography, it was just easy to just take pictures of what I was seeing, and it made me feel sure, it made me feel present in that moment, because I could, relook at that picture, and it gave me a second to just breathe. And I think as I got more into editing, and I started to write about my photography as well, I started to feel like I was making sense of a lot of the different thoughts in my head. And I feel like, my work is personal. It's very me. And I think every time I get to do it, I feel like I'm really enjoying me and seeing me finally. And I think that's so important for me, because it's healed me a lot. It's been my aid through really difficult times. And I'm just grateful that like that's what I turn to.
I feel like the creative process is so stressful, but I feel like we as Black women just know how to handle it very well. Like we do a lot of things. We know how to handle a lot of things very well. And I have to say that the result is always so soothing and so calming when you release a new project, or when you release those new photos, or a new podcast, or a new painting. It just feels good. It feels really good, whether people are supporting it or not. It just feels good that you have created something and you've put it out there for the world to see, you know?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone was saying. I feel like for me, when I always say that my poetry is like the truest expression of who I am. Only because I'm very shy. Producer, you're saying no, I barely talk, but and I'm very quiet. And so I feel like when I'm writing, it allows me to like really express everything I'm feeling, and then also like my train of thought and just like how my thoughts are coming. And I think that through writing, like I always say, like I feel like I'm always having an existential crisis, because I feel like I'm always finding out new things about myself and like how I can like integrate it to like who I am. And so I feel like my writing really gives me the space to do all that, and also has just made me comfortable with like not always knowing the direction that I'm going in, but like trusting the fact that I have the tools to like get where I'm going, and I just kind of need to keep moving. And I think writing really just gives me the space to kind of be in that like middle of like I don't really know how I feel, or like what I'm doing, or where I see myself going.
I don't know if you guys can see these, but there's like so many questions in that there's like a Q&A box at the top. Does everyone see that, or is it just me?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
I see that, and I
Okay.
think there's some in the chat as well.
Yeah, there's one that just popped up in the chat as well.
Okay. I was gonna answer those at the end, but we can answer them right now.
Can we do your questions first?
Okay. So the next question I had is, why do you think it's important for Black femmes to create in the first place?
In the words of my mentor, sorry, sorry, I'm jumping right in. In the words of my mentor, she says we have to create to breathe. I think it's literally so necessary. I didn't realize it until I stopped looking at I used to think of my creative outlet as just a way to like show something off, you know. I didn't think of it as something that was beneficial to me. I always thought like people were just looking at it. It wasn't something that I was creating for myself. And when I first, you know, had this conversation with my mentor, which was like over 4 years ago, Dr. Silva Roberts, y'all search her up, she's amazing. She threw that at me. She was like, you're doing this because you want this, not because, you know, there's a price tag at the end of it that you're going to get. You know, you're not trying to make this marketable. You're making it right for you. And I think that's essentially it. Like you have to do that for you. Yeah.
I feel like it's important for Black femmes to create because we all have something we need to get out. As little as my mom, like decorating the kitchen, that's her creating her own space. So I feel like there's always something we need to get out, whether it's our attitude, our personality, and that comes out when we create. That comes out in what we see as art.
I feel like it's doing a disservice to the world if we don't create. I feel like if we don't create, like life is boring. And there's also like we're in 2021 now. There's a lot going on in our world, like globally, internationally, like politics wise, and we need to create to give hope. We need to, like, I think when we create, we're doing something for ourselves, but we're also giving life to somebody else. We might not see that person ever in our lifetime, but we're doing something for the world to keep spinning. So I feel like it's essential for us to create. It's essential for our mental health, for our peace, especially if you're called to create, and you feel it and you're actively working in it. But I also think like you're doing the world a huge disservice if you're not.
I agree with what everyone is saying. I also just want to put this out there. Black women are the original creators, but that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not gonna get into. But yeah, we are the creators. We're the original creators. I feel like we were all born to create as Black women. And also I would like to say that Black women go through a lot. And sometimes we don't speak about that. So I feel like sometimes we turn to creativity or, things that we like to do, whether that's painting, drawing, cooking, fashion, videography, like whether it be that or the other thing, like we use that in order to express ourselves differently. And for me personally, like I'm so involved with so many different forms of art that I just use them all in different ways to express myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Creating is just a form of expression as well as just a stress reliever. And if something that I'm creating is helping somebody else, then like it's even more worth it. So that's specifically like what I create, but just in general, I think other people could relate to that as well.
So there was one other question that kind of tied back into what we were talking about previously that I just it slipped my mind to ask. But I'm really interested to get everyone's opinion on this. But does your art always have to be informed by your identity, or is it a choice an artist can make?
I think I'll answer this one first. I think for me, there's times where it's not informed by my identity. There's like videos and pictures that I just take randomly just because I think they're pretty, and it has absolutely like nothing to do with what I'm, who I am as a Black queer woman. It's not a part of that discussion. I try and do things just because they're pleasant. There's some things that I have a lot of videos of a rooster when I was in Puerto Rico. I don't know why I have those videos, but however, I have those videos because those were things I wanted to see and I wanted to share. And I think there's times where like I will create just to be able to create, and it's just something pretty that I'm seeing versus me trying to create a project or navigate something that's about my principal or like, moving me up career-wise.
I personally love this question. I think it's a great question to ask. And I don't think I have the answer to it for myself yet, but I will say that like when I was living in Boston, I was involved with a lot of like activism work. And so a lot of my friends are activists, and like we've had conversations and we've asked like similar questions. And one thing I'll say is that like it's hard to do everything based off of your identity, especially as Black people, because like there's a lot of Black joy for sure, but there's still a lot of like anger and trauma. And so I feel like sometimes it can be really difficult for us to just like create based off of like solely our identities. And I think it's okay for us to explore like, taking pictures and videos of roosters. Like, I think that's okay. But I also, on the flip side, this is why I don't have the answer. I could also be that person who gets upset sometimes at like rappers or singers who don't address like social issues. And I don't know if that's fair. So like, I'm not sure if that's fair all the time. Like, or I'm not sure if I want to have poetry that's like solely about like that, like, you get what I'm saying? So like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a really dope question, but I think that's a hard question, because it's just like everybody's identity is different. And all of our experiences, especially as Black females, there's a lot of similarities, you know, but they're also very different. And so, and also somebody who's actively like working on healing myself and hoping that everybody else is too, is like, sometimes I wonder, like, if we constantly like talk about it or bring it up, like, are we are we healing, or are we still living in it, like, you know what I mean? Or, and also, I don't want to make it out to seem like our identity is just trauma, because it's not. And I see, that's what I'm saying. I don't have the question, like, I don't have the answer to that question, but I think it's a very dope question. And something that I sit with all the time. Because I think personally for me, I do create, everything I create really does come from my identity. But sometimes I have to sit with it, because sometimes it can be a lot for me personally.
Makeda, I definitely like everything you've been saying is like literally me. Like I feel like I don't mean to copy, but I literally don't have the answer to that question either. But it honestly, every day I sit on my bed and I'm like, is that me? Like, does my art really, like, is that Jay Millie? Does people see? For example, I think about this a lot. Like, heaven forbid if my art was to get stolen without a tag, would people be like, nah, that's not you. That's Jay Millie. Like, I know her. That's her. And I don't, I don't think that's the case, only because I feel, and I think someone said this before, like they grow every day, like they're different than they were 2 days ago. And that's me, especially when with my art. I can look at the smoothest rock and I'll be like, oh wow, that just inspired me. Like, how am I gonna do something with that rock? So I feel like everything I look at, everything I like, there's just inspiration every day. So I can't necessarily say that all of my art is how I feel or how I am, or it even ties into my personality, but it is something I think about every day. Like, I want my art to be Jay Millie enough for somebody to notice if it was, if it was ever, heaven forbid, stolen or, gotten into the wrong hands. Like, I want somebody to tie that back to me. But my everyday art, it's probably not me, because I can take a picture of of something depressing, but I'm generally a happy person. Like, I mean, I get into my, all of us do, we get into our, like, bad days, but I can't say generally that I I I'm sad, or the emotions that the emotions that my photography depicts on a day-to-day is me. But it definitely has a part of me. Does that make sense? I really don't want to, slide off the topic, but I want y'all to understand what I'm saying too. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, because my business is called Afros and Crowns, um, depending on just some orders that I would get, I would just have like a little like mini crisis about like, oh, you're ordering from me and like the business is called Afros, but like the person wanted like the figure to have like straight hair to reflect them. And like probably before, when I first started my business, if I got something like that, I'm like, I don't know about that. But like now I've kind of like grown out of that. If you want art, I'm gonna give you art. If I can do it, I'll do it for you. And I would also kind of feel a little weird when white people would order from me, but they would also want art that had afros. So those are like two types of instances that I've had. Like, I don't know if I should stray away from what I'm doing or should I post this on my page, but whatever I create, I post it on my page. And if the person likes it or like whatever, I'm gonna just create, and it's from me because it has my personal flair about it or something like that. So whatever the order is, I put as much effort into it as regularly. So that was something that I would used to kind of be iffy about, but like now, like I've grown so much, I could, if I put my mind to it, I'm going to be able to do it for you.
I want to say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say that everything you create resonates with you, whether you think so or not. Like, I remember, how do you say it? I don't want to butcher nobody's name. Yeah.
Sarah. Yep, Sarah.
How do you say it?
Yep, Sarah.
Yeah, but Sarah. Okay. I remember when you were saying that, like I have all these random pictures of these roosters or these random videos of these roosters from when I was in PR. It may not mean anything to you right now, but as you grow and as you get older, you're going to be like, I know exactly why I took that, or I know exactly how that resonates with me, or you're going to find something, or you're going to work on a project and it's going to be all connected because everything that you create, it resonates with you and it stays with you.
And if I can add on, I feel like, well, it's not really an add on, it's just like, additionally, I think that I don't, okay, so I run a photo film company called J. Millie Productions. It has been on the startup for a while, but that's basically me and my team's portfolio. And I mean my team as in, say somebody comes on and or like comes to me like, I want to broadcast this picture, this, that, and the third. I would put it on J. Millie Productions. So I feel like my art, it's not really, sometimes it's not really my art. It's just other things that I can relate to. You know what I mean? Or for example, I know Meet the Creators does this a lot. They take like you guys take like Twitter inspo and things and post it on your Instagram or on your or repost it on your Twitter. It's not necessarily y'all's art. It's just art that, oh wow, that's fire. Like I want to promote the artist who did it, or it resonates with me so much that I'm gonna post it on my personal page too, with permission, of course. And that's the same thing with J. Millie Productions. Like we don't necessarily do that, but there are times where I would hit up an artist. I'll be like, that's real dope. Can I please post that on J. Millie Productions? So it's not, so I guess it's a little, I think that if it, you know, if it resonates with you, there's like a little piece of your personality in it. It doesn't mean that you bought it or like you did it. It just necessarily like, I can, bless you, like I can see why J. Millie likes that, or I can see why Meet the Creators posted that. And yeah, that's really my take or my addition.
Yeah, I agree with everything that everybody said. I feel like I'm also undecided on this question because on one hand, I think like, oh, is it my social responsibility as a Black femme to create art that, you know, informs people about the Black experience and inspires Black people? But then I'm also just like, I am a Black femme, but there's also different things about my identity that are just as important that I also can touch on. And so I feel like I'm always battling between those two things, but I always try to think of like, as a Black femme, like my art is always going to be informed about my identity just because like that's my existence, even if I'm having a sad poem or a happy poem. And like, I feel like my art is still going to be able to touch and inspire Black people because I feel like they're also multifaceted. So I feel like that connection can still, I don't know, exist without me being like, without me centering the fact that I'm a Black femme in that poem. But yeah, did anybody else want to touch on the question before we moved on? Okay, we're gonna go into the questions from the audience. So one question that someone had was, how do you guys navigate with your creative endeavors with low finances? And as someone wanting to dive into photography/film, is there any low cost camera someone could recommend?
To answer that question, I would say definitely reach out to other organizations because there's always somebody out there with money that can help. Definitely like reach out to organizations, email them, DM them, like see what type of grants you can get to help you really get on your feet, start your business or whatever the case may be. And for the entry level cameras, I would say any of like the TI series is really good for entry level. If you're getting started, those are like the cameras that I learned on like in school. So definitely invest in one of those. They're like $300, $400. But like I said, if you don't want to use like your personal money for that, there are people and organizations out there that can help you. You just have to do your research and you have to reach out to them. So make sure you do that.
I agree. I agree with what Janae said, especially about the reaching out part, because I feel like a lot of us creatives, or you know, I'm sorry to generalize, but like I just feel like some of us we like to do everything on our own. Like what I said earlier, like even when I said I don't want any handouts, like you can't be afraid to reach out, because people don't know you unless you say something, whether the say is through your art or through your voice. Like you have to let people know that you're here for them to even try to help you. So definitely to reach out to what is it called, reach out to overlapping businesses, like you know, people that does the same thing as you. And honestly, yeah, thank you. And honestly, people really use mass.gov. Like that really has you know, like it really has things for creatives. Like I know some of us can, and if y'all didn't know this, fun fact, some of us, if you guys are an LLC, or if you put it on your taxes, or if you've been doing it for over 2 years, you can go on mass.gov and they can give you a grant for up to 2K. So, you know, tap into like what your city can do to for creatives, and definitely what Janae said, reach out.
Yeah, to second that, definitely check in with your local libraries too. I advocate for libraries so much because I am a librarian. Please like tap into your local libraries. They have media teams, media centers they can refer you to, where they can just at least maybe give you a class with cameras and give you some experience just touching in. And if you're located in Massachusetts, the best part is there's a lot of media centers in Massachusetts where you could do memberships for free, or you could do like a discounted rate, and they'll give you access to computers and cameras, whatever you may need, and they'll teach you everything you want to do first. So like that's how I started to do a lot of my editing personally, like Cambridge Community TV. Amazing. Shout out to them because they really helped me. And I think as you're like preparing yourself financially, like I'm a big penny pincher, so like I try to at least save $10 a day for the equipment I wanted, and like that ended up working out over time for me, because you know, if I can do even just $10 a week, a couple weeks later I can, you know, get myself whatever I need. So I think it's just all about using the free accesses you have in your communities, and then also like utilizing like your own steps, making sure you're budgeting for that big goal, because a $500 camera sounds easier when it's like $10 a week.
The next question that someone had was, do you think future peace is possible for Black women and Black femmes without centering the experiences of Black men?
I think anything is possible, so I won't say that it's impossible. I just think that as always, we just have a lot of work to do, and the best way to start that kind of work is just working on yourself. Like I'm really big on like, if you want to change the community, you want to bring peace, then you got to be it for yourself. Like I'm not one to like, I think back in the day I was kind of more like talk about it, and I still am, but I'm more so about like being about it, so that when people come around me, like they see it, two, they feel it, and three, when they talk to me, they hear it. So I think it's definitely possible. I just think that as a community, I think we have a lot of work to do individually on ourselves. And I think when we do that work, on ourselves, I really do feel like our communities will shift as well.
To go off Makeda's point about like really taking care of yourself, I also like heavily advocate for therapy. And like I think in our communities, like especially when we are creating, that can be very therapeutic, but also like taking the steps of like, you know, finding your local therapist. If you're like me, you'll find a Black therapist, you know, and like you'll find someone who resonates with your community. And by taking like that step to heal that individual, like Makeda was saying, you will definitely start to see it resonate within the community. I think as Black femmes, it's important for us to take care of the self before we even think about taking care of the rest of the community.
I definitely feel the same way. I feel like, so J Millie Productions is also a like phototherapy. So I like to, I like to go on locations where, excuse me, I like to go on locations where, I can actually, or even in a studio setting, I like to get to know my clients. Like I call it kind of an interview session, but I'm really, I'm easily liked. Do you know what I mean? So people, it's from the tone of my voice to just my attentive listening. Like, sorry guys, I just went up some stairs. Like, whew. So, yeah, it's just like I always try to touch base on how are you, like how were you before the shoot, and whatever you choose to share, either way, something is gonna, let out something. Like that's what I hope for J Millie Productions. Like every shoot, I just hope that we got something off your shoulder, not that we're making it our responsibility, but that's what our code of conduct says. Like we want you to leave with an experience. We want you to leave with, something peaceful. And even for the artists such as myself, like I have to make sure that I'm in a good space before I even agree to the shoot. So yeah, therapy is, I'm big on that too.
I definitely believe that peace is possible for Black women and Black femmes without centering stuff around Black men. I think someone said it before, like, you should really be your own peace. Like, you shouldn't have to center things around Black men in order for you to have peace. Or that's what I think the question is asking. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I feel like I agree. I feel like I'm always thinking about how to center the most marginalized people in the room. And I feel like that's how I like try to like envision like events or just like things that I want to do. And I feel like that can look like in terms of identity, or that can even look like, okay, like I can see that this person may, for example, like not have as many followers as I do. Like, let me invite them to an event that I'm doing so that they can get exposure and that everybody wins in that situation. And I feel like in doing that, everybody's gonna end up free. Like I feel like that's just how, I don't know, that's just how I think about things. Yeah. The second question that someone had was, as Black women, what are some of the best ways you've been supported by other Black women? How do we as Black women be supportive to one another, even when we disagree / don't approve?
Sorry, may you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. As Black women, what are some of the best ways you've been supported by other Black women? How do we as Black women be supportive to one another, even when we disagree / don't approve?
Got it. I think Janaea was talking first, so I'm gonna give you the mic, sis.
I think that, well, with my experience, Black women have always been very supportive of everything that I do. And I think it's because not only do like they resonate with my work, but like they resonate with me as a person, because that's how we can relate. We're both Black women. as far as Meet the Creators goes, which is my organization, I've worked with a lot of Black women, Jay Millie being one of them. And I think that it's a lot easier for me to work with Black women in terms of my organization, because like I said, we can just relate on that type of level because we understand each other, you know, in a different light or on a different level, which is a beautiful thing. So yes.
I feel the same way. I feel like there hasn't been one, yeah, not that I can recall, there hasn't been like one situation where, you know, a Black woman wasn't on it or she wasn't even volunteering to help, even if she wasn't, you know, if I have the means, for sure you're paid, but even just on a volunteer basis, like it was always Black women first. And I always appreciated that, even in some instances where me and the Black woman previously had a falling out, it was never on that. It was never where she attacked my business to get to me. She was like, when it came to my business, it was always like, what do you need or how can I help? You know what I mean? So I just feel like there in most times it was always like Black women who were first to support or first to come to my creative aid.
For me, my first painting, I just showed it to my sisters and they were like, "Oh, you should make a business." And I was just kind of like iffy about it because like I'm Katsia, like I don't do things like that. And just with that encouragement, here I am 3 years later and I've grown so much as an artist. So just with the encouragement of my sisters, you know, I don't be listening to them, but like they're like, make a business. So I did it. And that's probably just the first piece slash like best support I've got. But like throughout that, since I was in college doing my business, just having my followers who were just really interested in my artwork, who I also on campus, just reposting things on Snapchat or Instagram, just like elevating my business and just getting the word out there. And that brought in a lot of orders who were mostly Black women as well. So with me, like on my college campus with my college community, that really like helped me a lot. And like I still have that support even now that I've graduated. Um, and yeah, it's just always been Black women behind me who have been really pushing me and supporting me. Black men too, but Black women have been there more and just like have been uplifting even more.
Yeah, I feel like in my personal experience, it starts as just even someone even mentioning my name in a place where there's an opportunity for me. I think that's like something that like a lot of my friends have done, and then it went from like friends to just even peers being able to like take that moment and being like, oh, well, there's this photographer position, there's this position, and Yapsada, she's perfect. You know, they just even mentioning my name, they really do open doors for me, and I think that it means a lot to me because it shows that like they respect my work and they think that I'm capable of being in that space, you know. And I think I try to do that same thing for friends. Every time I see model calls, I have a lot of friends who are models, and that's the first thing I do. I'm like, hey, do you see the dollar sign? Like, this is for you. Like, I try to put people onto opportunities, and I think I whether or not like they feel like they maybe seem fit, I always try my best to always remind people like your potential is as much as you want it to be. And I always like try to remind myself that too, because I think at times I forget that, and that's what my friends do, whether it be like sending me something from Instagram saying like apply for this or like do this or that. Like it motivates me because sometimes I won't find these opportunities on my own, you know.
For me, like the question reminded me, like I have a good friend of mine who like literally will ask like, in what ways can I support you? Like she'll literally ask it. And I appreciate that. Like, and I think having like an ear or someone who listens when you're like venting about being in doubt, and offering that encouragement. Like, I feel like that's happened for me, and I'm grateful for that. As far as the how do we as Black women be supportive to one another even when we disagree or don't approve, I think specifically as creative, something that I've come across is that um we all can be inspired by one another, and sometimes I think that um I just think that the world is large, and if we don't agree or don't approve of one another, I think it's as simply as addressing it, and just clearing the air, because I've had that experience, and at the end I think it was more of a healing conversation than anything else. Um, and so I think even when we're not agreeing with someone, I just feel like that's not an opportunity to bash or knock down what they're doing. Like, I don't really understand some of the things that I see sometimes, but it's not for me to judge, because maybe it's not for me to understand. Like, you get what I'm saying? I just think one way to support someone that you don't agree with, or you're not necessarily understanding, is to just sit with yourself, and really ask yourself, is this something that I have to address? Or if it's something oh, that's for them, I just don't get it. I don't think that everything is requiring a response. I feel like if it's disrespectful, then yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I feel like if you're not agreeing, or you're seeing something that you don't necessarily rock with, I feel like it's not an opportunity to knock someone down. I think that's the best way to um support someone you don't agree with. And also not letting personal things stop the creative flow. So, if you're not rocking with someone's creativity, and you're in a room full of people that are rocking with it, that's not that's not the opportunity to be hey, I actually don't nah, just let it rock, you know what I'm saying? And just hold yourself to that high regard, and let your art speak for itself. Yeah, but I've been very blessed to have a lot of Black women send me feedback on my work. I think that's a great way to support, sharing stuff, sending me opportunities, or even articles. I've had a lot of Black women be oh, you should check this out, because this is similar to what you're doing. And it's great, because it gives me inspiration, and it also makes me feel wow, you understand what I'm doing. So I think I've been really honored to have the support of Black women, and I feel like that we're really good at showing up for each other. Even on this panel, a group of people that I mean, I don't really know all of you guys, but I feel like I know you guys, and we're bouncing ideas off of each other. I feel like spaces like this is also important for Black women to have. And I feel like it's a great testament to that we actually do show up for one another.
All of you guys' responses was amazing, and it's almost 4 o'clock, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So to wrap up, you all can just tell the participants just where to find your work, and yeah, just so everybody can go around.
Okay, I'll go first. So I have my Instagram, and I have a website. If you go to my website, everything is there, how to find me on Instagram, and mailing list, all of that great stuff. So it's asimakeda.com. So ASIMAKEDA.com. And my Instagram is actually the same thing, as I Makeda, except with the S at the end, because as I Makeda was taken. So yeah, I think follow me there, so that way you're able to keep up with my podcast, which is Affirmantra Tea. It'd be really cool if you guys listened and gave me feedback on it, downloaded the episodes. It's a great way to start your week. I drop a new episode every Monday, and it's just really a vibe for people who are into affirmations, mantras, sharing gratitude, and it's very meditative. It's a great way to start your week. So yeah, check it out.
I can go next. I have two Instagrams, J Millie Productions, which is the productions portfolio, which includes film and photo. Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at J Millie Productions. That's JM as in Mary, ILLY Productions. And you can follow my personal page. And this is only to reach me if the productions does it, because sometimes we do really get busy with bookings and stuff. Our DMs gets busy with bookings. So I apologize in advance if it does get backed up. At J Millie the Kid with two D's. So J Millie THEKIDD on Instagram. And also we just released a film partnered with Meet the Creators. It's called I'm Good on the Boulevard. So if you guys want to check it out, it's on J Millie Productions. And thank you in advance.
Okay, so I'm gonna also put it in the chat. My art Instagram is at afros_crowns, and the website for my merch is in my bio. Just a reminder, I'm selling hoodies, tote bags, and stickers. And on my Instagram, you can see just all the work that I've sold and just posted. And DM me if you want a painting or digital artwork.
I'll type mine in the chat shortly, but I have two accounts that you guys can follow me on Instagram. My personal account where I post people, photography, politics, all that jazz, is at I am Yapsera, and so it's my first name, YEABSERA. So that's at I am Yapsera. And my second account is my collections. I'm still refreshing this page because my old one unfortunately got removed from Instagram for my content. But yeah, my second page is at Multifaceted Yib. So that's multifaceted and then YEAB. So I'll type that into the chat, everyone.
I can go.
And same thing for me. I'm gonna put it in the chat to make it easier. So Meet the Creators has an Instagram, instagram.com/meetthecreators.tv. We have a YouTube channel where you can find work from like 2018, which is when we first started. And you know, there's a lot of good things on there. There's a lot of photography related stuff, fashion related stuff. There's makeup artists on there, dancers, interviews, just artist interviews with like rappers. We also did a rap cipher. There's just a lot of content on there. So you guys can check that out. And then we also have a Twitter, twitter.com/mthecreatorstv, and it's all in the chat. And thank you guys for your support.
Okay, I'll go next. I know I didn't talk much, but I wish I could have. But my podcast is at Mood the Show, and like I didn't do this this intro before, but it's basically just a podcast about Black culture, art, and music, and we kind of just talk our shit on there, if I'm being honest. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at NotMedusa. I write, like I'm a freelance writer now, so I just post a lot of my stuff on there. And yeah, and any of my other endeavors if you're interested. So yeah, just at NotMedusa and then Mood the Show.
So yeah, so just thank all you guys. I thank you all you guys for coming and just for sharing your opinions. I feel like this was a very beautiful, thought-provoking conversation. And I will probably be posting the recording of the conversation at some point, but I will let everybody know. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And yeah.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you. This was great. It was so nice meeting you.
Thank you so much, Olivia.
Of course.
Thank you, Live.
Liz.
Thank you, Chocolate Project. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it all. Peace and love. I hope you guys have a lit Saturday.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Liv. I love you.
Thank you, Olivia.